right before the game, there was a trade made. Trey Lance, San Francisco 49ers, I don't know if I want to call him backup quarterback, starting quarterback, very high draft pick. Let's use that. Trey Lance was a number 3 overall pick for the Niners. Didn't pan out. Over the weekend, Jerry Jones made a trade, sending a 4th-round pick to San Francisco to acquire Trey Lance. He's now he's the backup to the backup. Like, he went from the backup to San Fran and came to Dallas and became the backup to the backup. And it's an interesting thing. And I can tell you, I've been all over the place. And if you're like me, you're trying to find out or figure out why, when, what, who, how. Because this is an interesting take. And I think because of the draft status of where Trey Lance went, the Niners gave up 3 first-round picks to move up to get the young quarterback out of North Dakota State, who really didn't have much starting experience at North Dakota State, had 1 year, really came on the scene. Then the next year, we all went into COVID, right? And North Dakota State, they played the 1 game, then like COVID hit, and it was like, hey, we're going to push it back till the spring, and it never really happened. And Trey Lance decided, I'm getting ready for the league, guys. I'm not playing in the spring. And so John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, they let me say this. Sometimes we give people a little bit too much credit in certain areas. I'm not saying that Kyle and John Lynch, they've coached and played more football than I would ever coach and play. But sometimes trying to reinvent the wheel, sometimes trying to kind of beat the curve, sometimes trying to get out and be the smartest person in the room, I think sometimes backfire on you. And there were a ton of players that went after Trey Lance in that draft. Can you find me those players that went in that draft after Trey Lance? But they saw something in him. There were some raw skills in there. But to give up 3 spots, to give up 3 picks in the first, to get to the first round, to get to that number 3 pick, that's a lot. And things didn't quite transpire and work out for the way I don't think any of them, what Trey Lance thought, or Kyle Shanahan thought, or John Lynch thought, because it was who the players? Jamar Chase. Kyle Pitts.
Jalen Waddle.
Oh, Waddle. Come on.
Devontae Smith.
Come on.
Or Micah Parsons.
Oh, Micah Parsons. You could. Imagine having Micah Parsons on one side and Nick Bosa on the other side. Is it Nick or Joey? Joey Bosa. Who's it? Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa. Imagine having Nick Bosa and Micah Parsons. Holy moly guacamole. Sheesh. That would have been hell to deal with. But there's a number of players who went after who we all probably deem, I mean, Micah Parsons, we already put him in the Hall of Fame, right? Guys already put him in the Hall of Fame. Not that I'm being a little bit facetious there. But there were a number of players that went after Trey Lance in that draft that I think the Niners, if they could do it all again, would probably take one of those guys. But sometimes being the smartest person in the room, or thought to be the smartest person in the room, can sometimes backfire on you. Now, granted, every single player in the NFL draft is a 50-50 crapshoot. I don't care what the talent level was in college. Will it translate? We just watched the documentary a couple weeks ago of Johnny Football. Johnny Football could do no wrong at A&M. He was the next thing the best thing since sliced bread. Gets to the NFL, bomb. Or you can go all the way back. We had the Ryan Leaf, Peyton Manning discussion. Bomb. Ryan Leaf. Jamarcus Russell was a guy who can get on one knee and throw the ball 70 yards. Bomb. I mean, and the list goes on and on and on and on from players who we think we're going to, or projected to be the next best thing, to not be the next best thing. And so the Niners, they go on this track to get Trey Lance, and they bring Trey Lance in, and literally it's you know, there was a time in football where you would draft a guy in the first round, you would sit him for a year or two, let him learn under a veteran, and then give him the keys to the Porsche. But not today. Today is you draft them today, you quote unquote said, we're not naming a starter right now, but they're the starter. And so when he got drafted, it was, all right, Trey, it's your go, breaks his finger. Then Jimmy G comes in and he does what he does, and then they're like, all right, come on, Trey, your turn again, and you break his ankle. And then all of a sudden they discover Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy. And so now you're trying to overcome injuries, you're trying to overcome expectation, and now I have to overcome Mr. Irrelevant. And it just seemed that it never quite clicked. The curl never quite curled all the way over for Trey Lance and San Francisco and Kyle Shanahan and whatever Kyle wants for that offense, the quarterback of that offense. So they make the trade. And I remember like looking at it and initially saying, not really interested. 4th round pick, maybe they kind of got fleeced a little bit, and the reports come out that there were other teams involved who gave lesser or wanted to give less for Trey Lance. Teams like Buffalo and other teams. But nonetheless, the Cowboys give up a 4th round pick for Trey Lance. They bring him in, and I think my biggest gripe with this all is the draft capital that the Niners gave up. 3 first-round picks and drafting him number 3 overall. And after 2 years, they washed their hands with him. Like, think about that for a second. Just let that sit in your dome for just a moment. You gave up 3 first-round picks, and then you drafted him in the 3rd pick in the 1st round. And after 2 years, you said, it is so bad, we don't even want you anymore. Normally, they let you finish out at least the rookie deal, the 4 years, and not pick up your 5th-year option. But they said, we good. We good. And so they called up some teams and got on the phone, and Jerry rushed in and said, we want him. We'll take him. Give him to us. 4th round pick, here you go. Now, granted, people are going to say, well, the Cowboys' 4th round picks, they found some gems in the 4th round, as they have. It's 50-50. Some they hit on, some they didn't hit on. I will say, in the Cowboys' grand scheme of things, I'm not a man that believes in luck, but boy, the Cowboys have been really, really lucky the last 12 years. To find a guy like Tony Romo, undrafted free agent, give him a little bit more money to get him to come to your team. Sean Payton helps develop him. He turns into your franchise quarterback for the next 10 years. And then you think, well, how do we transition from one guy that we really lucked up on? Well, gosh darn it, I luck up on another guy. I find a guy in the 4th round in Dak Prescott. And through 2 injuries, now remind you, 2 injuries had to happen before Dak Prescott got his chance. Tony Romo had the injury against the Seattle Seahawks with the back. And then Kellen Moore broke his ankle. Kellen Moore, don't forget that part. It wasn't like he took the job from Tony, because it was Kellen's job next. It wasn't Dak's job. It was Kellen's job. He was the next in order, in line of that order. It was Tony, Kellen, then Dak. And Dak was supposed to be this project. To his credit, Romo goes down. Kellen goes down. In comes the 4th round rookie from Mississippi State, lights the roll on fire. To the point where they said, you ain't getting your job back, Romo. Sent him packing, sent him to the booth where he started making $19 million a year. Sidebar, Lord, if you hear my prayers, I love Unfiltered with Jesse Holley, but if you want to take me and put me on TV and make me I'll take $5 million. I'll take $10 million. I don't even need the whole 19. If you just see fit for me to operate in my gift, I won't be mad. Okay. Amen. And then Dak Prescott got his start. Took it and made something of it. The Cowboys whiffed on that first contract. Not whiffed on it, but they could have gave him $25 million. They said, "Nah, we want to just keep saying." And he ended up breaking his ankle, and they wrote him a big check. To the point of the matter is, well, they had to write him another big check pretty soon. Lucky him. But Trey Lance is now here. There's so many places we can go with this. I guess the positive in it all is that for Trey Lance, a fresh start. A new beginning. No expectations here in Dallas. The Dallas Cowboys did not draft Trey Lance in the 3rd number overall pick. The Dallas Cowboys did not give away 3 first-round picks to move up to get Trey Lance. What the Cowboys are hoping for now is that they can benefit or profit from the mistakes of the 49ers by allowing a guy to grow in a system where there really is zero expectation. And let's be honest with each other. Trey Lance ain't playing this year. The only way Trey Lance gets on the field this year is if we have a Dak 2.0. Dak gets hurt, Cooper Rush gets hurt. Then you go to Trey Lance. Wouldn't that be, that'll be, you talk about something that'll be wild. You talk about something that'll be wild. I'm not wishing this. I'm not trying to put the mojo out in the air. But what would be insane? I just had a squirrel moment. What would be insane? Dak Prescott got his job because of the starting quarterback and the backup quarterback going down to injury. What if Trey Lance, in a year where he's expected to do absolutely nothing, like Dak was expected to do absolutely nothing his rookie year, if Dak goes down and Cooper Rush goes down and he's thrusted into the starting role and balls and takes this team to the NFC East Championship. The NFC Championship, excuse me. Holy moly guacamole. Talk about a storyline. Jerry would eat that up. He would eat that up. That would be, the national media would eat that up. If Dak got Daked, I would eat that up. If Dak, I'm not wishing that on anybody. I'm just saying it would be crazy weird if that happened. But Trey Lance, a fresh start. Doesn't have to come in here with expectation of winning any football games. This year for Trey Lance is almost like a redshirt year. Come in, new situation, learn the offense, get acclimated. Because you hear people talk about, oh, the development. Let's be honest with you people. I'm going to be honest with you people. As someone who's been inside of a locker room and understanding what everyday practices look like once the season starts. So you develop in OTAs and in minicamp and in training camp because there's time. There's time in the day to develop. There's time to sit and do some extra films. There's time to do certain things. When the season hits and it really counts, there is no time for development. His development will come when you run the scout team. His development will come just kind of by osmosis, hoping being in the meetings helps out a little bit. But this year for Trey Lance is basically a redshirt year. Nothing. You're expected to do nothing. You don't know this offense. You don't know the terminology. You don't know the players. You don't know any of that. And I'm sure what you learned under Kyle Shanahan may not be the same thing that you're going to learn under Brian Schottenheimer and Freaky Mike McCarthy. So it's going to be a huge adjustment for Trey Lance. I don't know what I think predicting what Jerry and company was trying to what they were trying to muster up is I think Jerry likes to kind of be that innovative one. Jerry, to me, has been a person who has been dying to get back to a place of, I need to be the one that is the reason that something great happens. I do still think that Jerry, hence why Jimmy Johnson's not in the Ring of Honor yet, holds on to the fact that people still to this day, 30-something years later, give a lot of credit to the Cowboys having a turnaround and winning those Super Bowls and becoming a dynasty on the shoulders of Jimmy Johnson, not on the shoulders of Jerry Jones. I think that Jerry harbors that a little bit. And so at every chance he can get, he kind of, and if you remember about the whole Bill Parcells hiring, that was more of a money play. That was more of a, hey, I need to get a stadium. I need to get some things in place. I need to get some things right. So I need to bring in some people here to get some things. He was playing a little bit of chess right there. But I do think Jerry is one that's been chasing the ghost for a long time. He wanted to be the one that was like, well, I have the next and new innovative coach in Jason Garrett. Didn't work out that way. I let Sean Payton walk. I let Sean Payton walk, and I said, well, I got the next one right here. OJ Jeezy. Didn't work out. Then it was, okay, I got the next boy wonder. The winningest quarterback in college football history. Old backpack. Kellen Moore, he's going to be the next one. And take us to that next place. And I'm going to be able to say, that's right, that's my boy. I picked Kellen Moore. I gave him a chance. To the point that when they let Jason Garrett go, they basically told Mike McCarthy, yeah, Mike, we know that you're a Super Bowl winning coach, and we know that you've called plays for eons and eons and eons. Take this job, Kellen Moore stays. You take this job, Kellen Moore stays. Because Jerry was trying to push that I'm the next one. And he would love for Dak to take this franchise to the next level because, I gave the 4th round pick an opportunity. And I think this next chasing of the ghost is the Trey Lance situation. Is Trey Lance, is he going to be the one to where a lot of people say, boy, Jerry stole one. Jerry stole one. Look at Trey Lance. I don't know if that works out that way. But I think Jerry is in that mode where he's chasing the ghost of saying that I want to be the one that's, I know some will say that this is a chance to light a fire under Dak's butt. Dak don't need no fire under his butt. Everyone already said he's the ultimate competitor, the ultimate leader. A fire under his butt. I mean, I don't think Trey's the guy for that. Trey don't got nothing on film that makes me go, ooh. Like, okay, cool. Or if this is a shot for Jerry Jones in the front office to go, hey, now when Dak comes up for his contract, we're gonna lowball him, we're gonna play hardball with him because we got Trey Lance. That got the Joneses by the nuts for the next 2 years. Unless they plan on paying him $60 million, they're gonna look to do an extension. Cooper Rush deal ends up in another year. Oh, by the way, Trey Lance deal is up in another 2 years. They're not picking up his 5th-year option. So they got this year and next year to figure this thing out. Either you're going to trade him or let him go. You're not picking up his 5th-year option. That's going to be a crazy situation. To pick up his 5th-year option, to potentially maybe pay Cooper Rush again, you probably hope that Trey Lance is better. You can kind of just move on and then go get another young guy in the draft. But Dak will be here. And the biggest problem is Jerry will never, ever, 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 ever go back to what they were like in 1988, 1989, where they were so bad that they got the #1 overall pick. And then go, whatever it was, they lost, 11 games? They were 0-11 or something like that. Crazy stat, when Troy's first year. Jerry's never getting back to that again. Never. Jerry Jones will never allow his team to be bad enough where they're picking in the top 3, 4, 5 picks in the draft. Not happening. Not happening. So he's going to keep trying to throw money and draft picks and things like that at guys like Trey Lance in hopes that he can keep this trend of luck going on with undrafted quarterback, 4th-round quarterback, and those guys been franchise guys for the next 10 years.
Troy 1-15.
1-15, Troy's first year. Jerry's never letting his team get back to that again. Because 1-15 means we're not going to be on TV. 1-15 means we're not going to be in the A block of people's conversations. 1-15 or 16 or 17 or whatever the hell it is now in the games, we're not going to be the belle of the ball. See, as long as I keep my team floating within that upper half of the league, there's always the conversation of if they turn it on, if they get hot, the Super Bowl contenders. Jerry's never going to allow his team to ever get back to that point that it was when Troy went 1 for 15 in a season. I mean, you might have to have Dak get hurt, Cooper Rush get hurt, and you might have to go to Trey Lance, and then you might You might. But think about it for a second. The Cowboys will never get bad enough to get Caleb Williams, to get Drake May. They're never going to be up there. They'll be around 10, 15 maybe. But to get a franchise-changing quarterback, you got to be up there. You got to be up there. You got to have a terrible season. And Jerry ain't tanking. Because tanking don't bring this. And this, at the end of the day, is all that matters a lot of times. 9.2 Billy. He about that bread now. But Trey Lance is here.